So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, happy Thursday evening, July 27th. Welcome. Sorry for the very late live stream tonight. If you're watching this in the morning, thank you for watching the replay. I was planning on doing this much earlier today. In fact, I was planning on doing it yesterday too. But yesterday the gym got in the way, and today, about the time I was getting ready to go live, my wife called me. She's like, I'm on the side of the highway and my car broke down. So I had to go pick her up, come back here, check out the car, come back here, get my multimeter, get some tools, check her battery, go to the store, buy a battery, come back. It was blazing hot, 100 degrees, cars whizzing by, shoom, 70 miles an hour. The perfect place to work on a car. Anyways, we got the car back home. Still got some mystery sound that I'll need to work on tomorrow, but we got it running. The battery was about 10 volts, so one problem down, but the saga is not over. And on top of that, we got some AMC drama going on this week. Just a wee bit. I think, let's see, to catch up, if I can do this from memory, the plaintiffs filed their response to Chancellor Zurn, and then yesterday we had a bunch of documents dropped from the defendant, AMC, with the answer. Judge Zurn had asked them each 4 questions that she wanted more input on, and they all supplied answers to that questions. I'm going to try and just do this quick for those of you that just want my thoughts real quick, and then we'll do your Q&A because I'm sure you got some doozies. But I'll get my opinions because everyone wants to know, what do I think? It doesn't really matter what I think, but this is my show and you are asking, so I'll say it anyways. Just a reminder, if we go way, way back, remember, I did not advocate way for any of y'all to vote. The vote was always your decision. I did not disclose how I voted. It's not on me to influence anyone how to vote. We all voted. The vote is done. It was done back in March. Then some people sued to stop the implementation, and I've been reporting on the proceedings. You know, what I think is really irrelevant. We're all just, everybody has different opinions, and we're waiting on attorneys and the judge. So all this fighting, all this drama is irrelevant, guys. You don't like my opinion. I don't like your opinion. I don't spend my day calling people names, calling them out, trying to start fights on Twitter and YouTube, but there are plenty of people doing it, and certainly plenty of people trying to drag my name through it. It doesn't bother me, but it is pointless, right? You get that? It's senseless, it's pointless, it accomplishes nothing because we are irrelevant at this point. We've been irrelevant for a long time. There are attorneys and there's a judge. All these objections and exceptions all got turned down by the judge. We are and have been irrelevant, other than just it's something to talk about. So try and be good to one another. Let's stop all the fighting. Now, and we're going to get into the questions, but you want to know my opinions? The plaintiffs and the defendant both answered Judge Zurn's questions, all 4 of them. Now, according to people's opinions, maybe they didn't answer them the way that these people wanted to hear. Oh, I wanted to see a detailed accounting finance reason why the judge must make a decision right away. I'm going to submit to you the same thing I've been saying for months. The The detailed financial reason is right there in the 10-Qs, the SEC documents, the same things that I've been talking about for a long time. And that is going to be good enough for Judge Zurn as far as the company saying we have a risk for bankruptcy. Guys, any accountant or finance person or CPA can look at that and say, yes, there's a risk of bankruptcy here. It is indisputable. Now, if you're not a CPA or a finance person and you want to argue that, hey, it's your channel, say whatever you want. But there are no people in the financial industry that would look at AMC's finances and say this is a solid financial company, financially solid, zero risk of bankruptcy. Guys, I don't care what Adam Aaron tweets. I don't care about yesterday's box office. I don't care about popcorn or credit cards. The balance sheet and the income statement have a risk of bankruptcy. Is it a risk this weekend, next month? No, I think we all know that, right? I've already told you, I think Q2, they are going to make positive earnings. I don't know if I'll be right, but last weekend or a month ago, what Adam Aaron tweeted about one day of popcorn sales, or even Q2, does not make the rest of this year positive. There's going to be a drain on cash. And the writers' strike and the actors' strike put 2024 at risk. So the company is at long-term risk of bankruptcy. That's why we're in this boat in the first place. Everybody wants to twist this to fit their own narrative, like, why is he doing this right now? We're not going bankrupt tomorrow. And I agree, we're not. But the CEO and the board are not looking at things in a very myopic way like you are. They are in charge of strategic planning, thinking beyond next week. And they will take the steps that they need to ensure the company doesn't go bankrupt and has the access to capital and the liquidity that it needs. And the way I've viewed my role for the past 4-6 months is to try and explain to you what the most likely outcome is so that you can get on the right side of a trade, of your play, of your position in this play. I don't tell you what to buy, what to sell, what to hold. I try and explain to you in my viewpoint what is happening, why it's happening, what I think is the most likely outcome. And then you make your choice. There's not going to be anybody coming back to blame me if X, Y, or Z happens. I don't know that I will be right. I have my own personal conviction, and I've shared that, but that's not a guarantee. I've made my trade, my strategic planning of how I think this is going to work out, but I could be wrong. I could lose money. I'm okay with that because I'm a grown-up and I accept the risk of my decisions. I hope you can do the same because you all know what's coming, or you think you know what's coming. You've made your choice. You've listened to all sides. You've made your choice. There's not going to be anyone to blame. You all had a chance to look at it, decide every day for the past 6 months. All right, Q&A. Q&A. Broke Ape, what's up? Interstellar Ape, Anya, how you doing? Scotty D says, my wife says, anyways is not a word. Yeah, anyway, anyways. Like it. It's almost Friday, damn it. If I said one, I apologize. Yeah, James, it could be an alternator on the wife's car. Could be. Wow. I just popped one of these beers. I've never tried it. This was left over from we were going to have the Austin Challenge. This is a Harpoon beer with the Dunkin' label on it. It's a Dunkin' Pumpkin. I don't even know what I grabbed out of the fridge, but that taste just hit me like, wow. Interstellar Ape says, I've learned a lot about human nature from this. You know, guys, if you learned anything from the last 2 years, then I know I have. And not just from AMC, A lot of people think, I was talking to some Bed Bath & Beyond people. They're like, don't comment on our play, Tony. Go back to paying attention to AMC. I've been paying attention to dozens, 100 different plays over the last 2 years. And I've gotten a very, very good psychological slice of what part of retail traders are like. And a lot of it is very scary, but every play has this little bit of slice of people that think everything is a conspiracy. Everyone is against them. If you don't agree with me, I'm going to attack you until you run away. I'm going to do everything I can to call you out. These are the conspiracy people. Because I don't want to hear what you have to say. I can't even be grown up about it. I'm going to act like a kid in a basement and stomp my feet and call you names because you won't agree with me. And everyone is against us. The government, the courts, CEOs, all the other investors. Only my position is right. Everyone else is wrong. And I've watched in many, many plays, guys, people with that attitude piss their accounts away into bankruptcy. And I'll be damned if I'm going to sit here and not say my mind about AMC and watch people do it again. I will be damned if I just sit idly by and let these dimwits ride this company into bankruptcy without saying something. Now, I get their passion. I get where they're coming from. I want everybody to make money. But you cannot fight sometimes companies when they have the upper hand, especially when they've done things legally. You got to be able to read the writing on the wall, evolve with the play, and either get out of it. And I'm not advocating anyone get out of it. I certainly didn't. You either decide to get out of it like I did with Bed Bath & Beyond when it ran up to $30. What a great exit. MMTLP, we called that back in November. What a great exit at $10, $12. But guess what? People argued with me in August last year and said, I will ride Bed Bath & Beyond into the ground. Okay, well, you got your wish. MMTLP, November, $10, $12. I will ride it into the ground, Tony. I don't want to listen to what you're saying. Okay, you got your wish too. And so on and so on and so on down the line. And I care about the theaters. I care about movies, and I'm not going to just idly sit by and just watch that happen again. Now, you have and have had options, choices in this play to potentially get on the right side of what is going on. And there are some stubborn people that decided not to do it, and they may pay the price. That was their choice, not mine, not anybody else's, not anyone on Twitter, not Adam Aaron's. Everyone has known exactly day by day what is going on in this play. And people made choices, and you will live by those choices, and that was your choice. Yours alone. You and the people that you chose to listen to. Billy says, is Zurn on our side? Zurn is on the side of the law. And I have expressed to you guys many, many times my belief that AMC, whether or not we agree with what happened, I did not read into it anything illegal, right? Was it some of it slimy? Did they do an end run around retail? Yes, I think anybody could make that argument. Was it illegal though? I don't think so. And so I think ultimately AMC will prevail. And that's all I've been trying to say. I'm not advocating for one or the other. I really don't care. If I believed in A, I would make my trades set up for A. If I think B is going to happen, I'm going to set up my trades for B. You've all had that choice. You've all made your choice. You all saw the options. You all made your choice based on who you listened to, and we're all about to find out very soon who is right. I might be wrong. I might be. But I did not submit 100 objections and have them all turned down. I did not submit 3,000 letters and have them all mean nothing. I didn't do a bunch of petitions that meant nothing. I did not celebrate popping bottles on Friday telling you vindicated, we won, it's over, only to be embarrassed, because these people don't have a rational view on things, in my opinion. That is why they've been wrong and denied time after time after time. Now, ultimately, at the end of the day, could they be vindicated? Maybe so. And if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong at the end of the day, at the end of Judge Zurn's decision. But these people that have been so vitriolic, so hateful, so spiteful, so angry to everybody have not been right on one thing yet. I think that speaks volumes. And at the end of the day, like I said, if there was some miracle way where we could get a squeeze next week so that people that are AMC heavy can get what they want, and then the conversion and reverse split happens so the company can get what it wants and survive, that would be cool with me. I'm not short on anything. I don't have options. I'm a shareholder, just like you guys. So whatever is good for you is good for me at the end of the day. David Cito, what's up, amigo? Doug says, I did not submit objections, but Zurn turning them down means shit. Companies use Delaware for a reason, and maybe they do. And that's a good lesson for people. Like we say many times, understand the field that you're walking on to do battle. What's up? Owen in the float. How you doing, amigo? Rendered Radical says they could have never gotten our head this fucking hard without collusion and copious amounts of fraudulent price action. Yeah, I don't think any of us would dispute that there's price manipulation, synthetics, FTDs, all of the stuff we've been talking about for 2 years. Super Steven, thank you. I'm not going to be on too long. I had to get a couple things off my chest because I see people just going ballistic against each other, and really our opinions at this point are it's just opinions. Just listen, agree or disagree, but all the attacking back and forth is really pointless. Between us, shareholders. It's out of our hands at this point. We're, I think, days away, maybe even tomorrow, as soon as tomorrow after the market closes, we might have something from Zurn. And I have been trying to get some clarification from Chance the lawyer. I know a lot of y'all have questions about what about the court going on vacation? Let's talk about August. 2 things about August. Is the court going on vacation? Chance, the lawyer, told us a couple months ago that the court is off in August. And that's been hanging out there, and I haven't been harping on it a whole lot because I honestly never thought we'd get to this close to August to have to worry about it. But we're pressing up on August now. So I sent her an email yesterday and asked her for some clarification on what does that mean. Does that mean Zurn is July 31st, she's just going to go away for 30 days? Is there a chance she could keep working on this in her cabin in the woods? Are there any secretaries in the courthouse that are logging shit? Like, I don't know what that means, but I can tell you, for me, I'm certainly not counting on the court being, or Zurn being off starting August 1st. I'm counting on expect the unexpected. I'm waking up every day early. I'm staying in front of my computer every day until extended market closes. I've got all sorts of alerts, and I think we may have moments to make a trade if you're trying to trade out of this, if a squeeze happens in whichever ticker you're in. So I am watching it like a damn hawk and not sleeping a whole lot. So if I hear any more from Chance the lawyer about what vacation in August means, I will certainly let you guys know the second that I hear from her. I asked her to come on. I asked her to email me. I asked her to do at least an update in her Substack so we can all collectively spread the word. But like, give us something more than just the court is on vacation in August. That's very vague to me. And since it's vague, I'm not going to take it as gospel. And I would say to you, maybe don't take it as gospel either. Let's see if we can get a little more detail. Now, let's talk about AMC and what they've been saying about the capital markets going on vacation in August, because that's a separate topic. And I know I see people talking about it, and I know maybe some of you have some questions. Why is that an issue? And what does that mean exactly? Somewhere in the first half to mid-August, a lot of the debt and equity people in Wall Street go on vacation till Labor Day. And I think it was AMC's original goal or intent to raise capital or do a debt restructuring with those people that they need to get this paperwork done, to get the deals done. They wanted to get that done before all those people went on vacation. So there's no firm date, but let's just say mid-August would be probably the drop dead. We got earnings on the 8th. They probably wanted the paperwork in and ready before earnings. I'm thinking. This is just my opinion. AMC wanted all the paperwork done before earnings so that if there is a surprise on August 8th, and no, they will not push the earnings date because by statute, August 9th is the last day they have. It's going to be August 8th. I think they wanted to have everything ready and locked before August 8th, drop in a surprise good earnings. By the way, did you see IMAX's fantastic surprise yesterday? Or was it this morning? Anyways, IMAX had a great upside surprise. Drop in a surprise earnings, have the price run up, and then do their deal, like sell shares or do a equity for debt swap, whatever they have planned. I don't know what they have planned. Like, I've talked to people about this much smarter than me. You guys know that I said I would like to see the balance sheet fixed with a lot of cash on it. And I've talked to people about that, and people have told me, I don't even care about cash on the balance sheet, Tony. They got $3 billion in debt coming up due on 2026 that they need to address first. And I'm like, that makes my head spin when people smarter than me are worried about 2026 debt. And I've been just focused on working capital, negative $1 billion working capital and cash on the balance sheet. I'm like, how can you not be worried about that? How can you be focused on debt coming due in 2026 is their biggest problem? So maybe I'll bring a guest on and we'll talk that out and have a little debate about that, because that's got my head spinning this week. But anyways, whether they do equity or a debt for equity swap or a combination to get some cash on the balance sheet and reduce debt, there's a variety of things that they might want to get done before folks on Wall Street go on vacation mid-August. And then I know your next question is, well, what's the urgency of doing it now? Why can't they wait till the end of the year? Because as AMC said in their filing to the judge, and as I said, you know, we did a live stream on this a week ago, you cannot ignore the risk of a writer and actors strike. Crumbling potential earnings of Q4. You can't ignore that. We all pray and hope that they resolve it long before that. But the longer that goes on, the more I worry about me staying in this play long term, because that will tend to erode things into next year, into Q4. So I'm going to be talking about it until AMC either fixes the balance sheet or that actors and writer's strike gets resolved, because I am concerned about it, and I'm not going to ignore risk in a play which was going fabulous, going the right direction, and now we got fucking Hollywood rug pulling us. And then the other thing that we've talked about, if you are trying to do an equity raise, you do not, in corporate America, want to wait until you desperately need it at the last minute. It would be very, very foolish. I get it. Some of you guys don't understand this. You don't even believe me. Again, maybe I'll bring a guest on, a consultant in equity raise for corporations. You don't want to wait until the last minute when you've got your last dollar in the checking account to try and go sell some shares. You want to do that stuff early. I get it. You guys that are not familiar with this stuff don't agree. You don't understand. You're here to listen to what I'm trying to teach you. That is what I'm trying to get you to understand. If you don't want to hear it, that's fine. There's plenty of other people to tell you other stuff, that the company's doing just fine. They don't need money. I'm telling you, AMC is not being counseled to wait until March of 2024 to raise money. They are being counseled to do it now before they absolutely need it, and they are listening. Moneymaker says some may understand more than me. Yeah, absolutely. Look, I've never worked on Wall Street. I've tried to form some network of people that are smarter than me so that I can take your questions, ask them to the right people, and try and bring you back some answer that explains to you what is going on. If it's something that I know, I will tell you. If it's something that I got from another source, I will tell you that. But I'm trying to explain to you why they're in a hurry to do it now. The longer they wait, the riskier it is for them in terms of the stock price eroding due to actors and writers strike, projects being pushed, films being pushed. It's going to have some negative price action on all theater companies if this continues on 6 more months. I know a lot of you say, well, that's 6 months from now. Again, the board is not thinking about tomorrow. Their job is strategic thinking, risk management. And that's a big problem between retail investors and trying to understand how CEOs, CFOs, and boards think. You don't think like them. But I would like you to learn how they think so you understand why they do what they do. Then you can make your choices, right? You can make your choice to stay in a play, to lighten up your risk, to hedge, or to get out. Brendan says, basically, don't wait until the house is on fire to install a sprinkler. Exactly. John says, what is going on with this conversation? Well, John, the first 5 minutes I gave you my opinions, and now I'm just trying to pick out some questions and answer them and not be on here all night. I think we're getting down very close to the end. I would like to see less division between everybody. You guys want to know my opinions? I really have been trying to not put out very many videos because if I say something, people think I'm trying to change your mind about something. It doesn't matter at this point. It does not matter what any of us say. You see other people putting out 10 videos a day. It doesn't matter. They are doing that for revenue. I don't care about YouTube revenue. I'd rather be quiet and just report on stuff, share information as it comes. But you guys have been bugging me for days for opinion, so I thought I'd take a few minutes. Few minutes of opinion. And mostly, I'd like to see less division, less acrimony, less infighting. And I do miss you. I mean, that 12-hour live stream on Monday was a blast. And make no mistake, I've people, a lot of these guys with the green badges by their names, we've been in Discord calls 12, 15 hours a day, every day, a week, for weeks. It's not that I'm not here. It's not that we're not talking, strategizing, trying to figure shit out. It's just like for me to put it out on YouTube, why? You already know what I think, most of you, and the rest the rest are just wanting me to say something so that they can attack or, you know, have a little soundbite for their own little fame. Oh, Tony Denaro is a shill. He's paid by Adam Aaron. He's I don't need to give these fucking trolls more food. You guys already know what I think. I'm just ready for this one to have some resolution so we can go on talking about other stuff, because there is so much more to talk about. And this is taking up so much of my time. And I don't mind doing that. Not one bit. When I see the forces that are against reasonable people, when I see the emotional clickbaiters, the people who can't do DD, there's 40 of them for every one me. I feel an obligation to remain here and be like that one last sane voice. And I certainly don't mind it. I enjoy this stuff. I enjoy teaching, helping, sharing information, but god damn, man, the drama that these emotional crybabies bring in is they've turned it up all the way to 11. Jeff says, what would happen to next week's calls if it went through tomorrow? So, yeah, good point, Jeff. Let's talk about the 10-day question. You guys know in the plaintiff's letter a couple days ago, they talked about, and I think in the defendant's letter also, they talked about NYSE has a 10-day requirement. Todd Rodriguez, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. The NYSE has a 10-day rule for affecting splits and reverse splits, and that is so that things don't get mucked up in the delivery of shares. Remember that whole 43 million FTDs with APE? It takes 2 days, basically, for shares to be delivered to all the brokers. And that is why this is not new information. I've told you guys this many times. The 43 million FTDs was not illegality. That was some of the brokers allowed trading before they got the shares, and then they cleaned it up 2 days later. We saw, as we see many times, the smaller brokers and European brokers did not allow trading because they didn't have delivery of the shares yet. It took 2 days. That is very normal. And that's why NYSE actually has the 10-day rule. You can go read the NYSE manual, and there's pages and pages and pages of stuff on this about why they have a 10-day rule and how things can get mucked up if it's rushed, and about the delivery of shares. And I have read that. But so there may be 10 days once the judge makes her decision, if it is in AMC's favor. Might be 10 days. However, I'm going to also throw in there what I'm telling my people privately, just for you that are here tonight. I'm going to say, I don't trust what any lawyers say in a letter. AMC, I'm certain, has a representative on the New York Stock Exchange that is their personal concierge, if you will, that helps them figure things out. And there may very well be a way that they've figured out to pre-file the paperwork to shorten that 10 days, maybe down to a day, maybe down to next day. I don't know that for certainty, but I do know that Adam Aaron said he was going to have the paperwork pre-filed. He did say that some months ago. So in my mind, I'm still expecting anything. While they have gone public and said the NYSE has a 10-day rule, that is true. That doesn't mean that they haven't already prepared something to shorten that time frame. So I would not be surprised if they were able to implement it the next day, and they would be incentivized to implement it the next day to short circuit any Supreme Court appeals, right? Wouldn't that make sense? Do you think they're going to telegraph, oh, we don't really need 10 days. We're going to drop it the next day. And while these guys think they're going to have 10 days to do their appeal, we're going to drop this the next day, and then it's going to be too late. The eggs are already scrambled. I'm just thinking. Nothing would surprise me. I don't know that that is possible, but that's what I would do if it was possible. I'd drop it the next day. How to join your team or Discord, Adventures with the Waltons. I don't talk about it a lot because I don't want emotional people in my Discord. But if you are looking for fact-based discussion, good and bad, on different plays, you can hit the join button on YouTube, or you can go over to Patreon and join there. It's the same $5 a month. It's like 25-30 cents a day. It's an inconvenience fee, I call it, to keep out clickbait and emotional people. That makes you an official supporter of the channel, and for supporters of the channel, the Discord is free. So you link up your YouTube or your Patreon to Discord, and they will automatically sync up. Peter James says, I think people are just having a hard time swallowing Adam Aaron taking salary increases while actively trying to dilute to save the company. I've said many times, I voted against the last 2 years of pay increases. I voted against. I do not think they should be taking big, massive bonuses and salaries while we are not making a profit. I agree. And I know that the no voters are talking about a lawsuit to claw back some of that. I support that. Go ahead. I would prefer no cash bonuses while we're not making a profit. You'd be surprised how much I agree with, but they don't ever bother to ask. They just think I'm against everything that they stand for, which is not true. Not true at all. A lot of companies have to do reverse splits and equity raises, and if you want to avoid dealing with those companies, do not buy companies that have negative earnings. You'll never have to worry about it. Seek out companies that have profits every quarter. Go look at the income statement, look at the EPS. If it's a positive, you won't have to worry about this shit. But if you're buying companies, and retail's got an addiction to buying money-losing companies, if you're buying money-losing companies and you hold them long enough, you are going to have to face this problem. And if that pisses you off, stop buying money-losing companies, or don't hold them so long. Every single one is going to come to this point at some point. If you don't like that, don't buy these companies. That is a risk you are signing up for, and you need to own it, not blame the CEO. You made the choice. You made the choice to buy. You made the choice to hold. And when the cash starts running out, all of them get to this point, or they go bankrupt. And I have a long list of ones I've watched go bankrupt in the last 2 years. And everybody said all the way to the point where they got wiped out, they're not going bankrupt. The Bed Bath & Beyond people are so mad at me today. The chief marketing officer put out a letter on LinkedIn and let everyone know that all these stores are closing this weekend. And I just retweeted that, and man, Bed Bath & Beyond, the name's been sold off. Bed Bath & Bye-Bye Baby, the name has been sold off. The stores are closing. The leases are being taken care of in court. The inventory is just about gone. And then the CMO says all stores are closing this weekend. And the only thing the BBBY people could tell me, but Tony, someone could come in and buy the company. What the fuck is left to buy? The name is gone. The stores are closing. There's literally nothing left to buy, and the debt is more than the assets. It's done. But they're gonna hold on to that dream until they have zero. Robert says, what are your thoughts on the cost to borrow dropping? This is the biggest question I have right now, Robert, that we're talking about a lot offline. When I say offline, I mean in Discord, phone calls, all day discussions. The cost to borrow is coming down on AMC. The short interest is going up on APE. Why? Right? There was a run up on Friday on AMC, and then I told my people on Sunday it was going to go back down this week to 440. I didn't make videos about that. I didn't make tweets about it. I share that with my folks because no one else wants to hear what I have to say. Don't be a wet blanket, right? But I want my people to know what I expect is going to happen. And sure enough, we're at what, 450 right now? Probably be at 440 tomorrow. People have been selling, and it's being shorted too, from $8-9 down to where we're at. So they were able to get some shares to cover, and that's partly why the cost to borrow is dropping. But I think maybe some of them saw an opportunity to short APE, because in the last 2-3 days we've seen the APE short interest go from 5% to 18.5%. The cost to borrow is like minuscule. maybe some of them said, rather than pay 1,000%, I'll go pay 5% to short ape and just carry it all the way through conversion. I know I'll take a hit if ape runs up, but it's cheaper than paying 1,000% and not knowing what's going to happen or when. I'm just thinking out loud, right? There's a lot of different scenarios why all of that's happening, but that's kind of like my leading theory. Maybe some people, some institutions, I don't think that the shorts are going to have to cover on ape when the conversion happens. They'll just transfer their short over after the conversion, their obligation. So maybe they did the calculus and said that is cheaper. I don't know. What do y'all think? Alan says, vehicles for Bed Bath & Beyond driving around saying stores closing 50% off. It's 90% off now, Alan. If you go to their website right now, it says up to 90% off. As far as what's going to happen with options, if the conversion happens, I don't know if I can say for certain what's going to happen, because now you got to put ape back together with AMC, and we saw how the options split with AMC and AMC 1 when they split apart. Now they're going to have to put them back together. Rather than me, I would imagine it's going to be the opposite of what happened before, and they will just redo the options chain, and you'll have another AMC 2 maybe that doesn't have ape with it. And then the new options chain will be recalculated, and there'll be a new AMC options chain. But I don't know for sure, and when we will know for sure is when the OCC issues their memo about how options are going to be handled. And when they release that memo, if the conversion and reverse split is approved, the OCC will drop a memo explaining it. Those are always misunderstood by people who aren't used to looking at them. So I'll break that down for you guys in a 5-minute video if and when we get to that point. Diatog says they could be shorting ape with the hope there will be another delay in the conversion. Yeah, I mean, another possibility is they're shorting ape because they think it won't be approved, right? You saw what happened when on Friday people thought the conversion was not going to happen. Ape dropped from $1.80 to 60 cents. There could be some people betting on that, certainly. We've talked about multiple reasons why ape could be getting shorted. I don't know that I have the magic answer for you. It could be a mix of both. As far as I see you guys talking about how many shares are going to be dropped. Whenever I listen to a clickbait channel, the people that hate Adam Aaron, the first thing out of their mouth is he's going to drop 400 million shares on you the next day. Look, none of us know that. Like that to me is fear-mongering. That is psychologically trying to scare you, and they know what they're doing. They're going to tell you the worst case scenario because that's going to elicit an emotional response from you. Who wouldn't be scared about 400 million shares being dropped on 150 million float? I'd be fucking pissed. I would be fucking pissed if they did that. Could they do it? Yes, they could do it. Will they do that? I don't think it will be anywhere near that number. Financially, the harm it would do to shareholders would be devastating. It does not make sense. Could they still do it anyways? Yes. Do I expect them to do 400 million on a first offering? I do not. I could be wrong. If they did that, it would be devastating. It would be, Jesse. It would be suicide. It would drop the price so fast. If you had a float of 150 million and you announced you were going to drop another 400 million shares, you would obliterate your chance to raise any reasonable amount of money. I just don't see them doing that. But the emotional people are going to latch on to the worst case scenario because that reaffirms their own belief that the CEO is corrupt. So the fact that they are so convinced makes me think that that's the least likely scenario, because they have not been right about anything. They being the emotional people. And they also do not understand finance. They don't understand the financial statements. They don't understand much except their feelings. And I don't work off of feelings. I have very few feelings. Matt says, I hope he sells into the open market and not another fund again. So to reiterate what I said about 30 minutes ago, and I've talked to people much smarter than me about this, if he would do a private offering or at the market, and the answer I got back is, and this is not by any means a guarantee, and I don't even know if I believe the answer I got. But the answer I got was it would be at the market or it would be a debt for equity swap. Why debt for equity? Because according to this person, AMC should be worried about the 2026 $3 billion in debt. For me, I don't know if I agree with that, because 2026 sounds a long way off, but this person knows a lot more about capital markets and debt financing than I do. So I'm not going to just discount their opinion. I'm going to take it. I'm going to put it in my little mental file folder, and then we'll see who's right. But I'm not just going to say impossible. I'm sharing the info that I'm getting with you guys, the sleuthing and the question asking. It would help the balance sheet. It would help to get some of that $3 billion 2026 off. It would improve AMC's credit rating. It would give them the ability to, after an improved credit rating, then go in and refinance some of the other debt for more favorable terms. And that's kind of the logic behind the debt for equity deal. So I don't know. Doug says, do you believe the squeeze is in play after the reverse split and offering? Doug, I categorize squeeze plays as stocks which have short interest over 20%, a strong retail following, and buying catalysts. So if that changes after the reverse split, if we don't have 20% short interest, I cannot categorize it as a short squeeze. I've said that for 2 years on many, many tickers. Even like finger, like when I'm throwing the finger people under the bus, when they're pounding the table, best short squeeze play on the table right now, finger. And I look at Ortex and it's 5% short interest, 8%. I'm like, no, I can't get behind that. And I would say the same thing about AMC. If I see the short interest drop to 12%, I cannot in good faith, and I will not say that is a short squeeze play. And why would the short interest drop? Now it might not drop. I mean, the short interest is going up on APE. But last week we had 5% short interest. Now we've got 18%. So the math is changing. But a week ago when I was looking at it, 5% of $1 billion plus 20%, 28% of $500,000, that was going to drop the short interest when they combined to like 12%. as the short interest on APE increases, that math is changing. I haven't redone the math. But we might be still close to 20% if they keep on shorting APE. So we'll see. We'll see when we get there. I will tell you right now, as I've been saying for many, many weeks, if it's under 20%, I will not call it a short squeeze candidate. That's just me. Other people can have their opinions, and I'm sure they will. Robert says, how can a CEO of a company going bankrupt? I've already answered the pay thing, Robert. I think I answered it extensively. Let's not keep asking the same questions. I know it hurts your feelings. I answered that question extensively 10 minutes ago, and I agree with you. Colby says, do I trust the numbers? I go by data, Colby. Remember when GameStop had 100% short interest and everybody trusted the numbers? But when a number doesn't tell you what you want, you don't want to trust it. I don't do that. Do I think there are things that are not reported, like swaps, derivatives, FTDs, things that they can manipulate shorts by not affecting the numbers? Absolutely. But I go by data. I always have. I'm never going to change that. The clickbaiters can tell you there's 10 trillion synthetic shares. You can hold them accountable when things don't work out. I don't want to get in trouble with the SEC or anybody by telling you false things that I cannot back up. And I will always report to you data that I can see. Number one, because it's ethical. Number two, it keeps me out of trouble. You want someone to go after if things don't work out, go after the people for 2 years who told you a bunch of make-believe numbers that they never could back up. And they start every video by saying, it's just my opinion. I don't know. It's just how I feel. Well, you can feel there's 10 trillion synthetics, but you're telling people that on a daily basis. They're making financial decisions based on your nonsense. And one day that piper will need to be paid. And maybe those people will be held accountable. But I report on data I can see, and I think that is the ethical and honest thing to do. Could there be other stuff beyond that? Yes, we know about total return swaps. We know about derivatives. We know about synthetic shares created in the options chain by buying at-the-money puts and puts and calls. We know about FTDs. But to throw out these numbers like these guys do, the emotional people, I believe there's 10 trillion shares. Da, da, da. If I believe that, guys, I would not be. If they could create infinite shorts, infinite shares, why would I ever invest in the stock market? Why would I ever invest in a squeeze play if I thought they could create infinity shares? That's just dumb. Why would the cost to borrow go up to 1,000% if they could create infinity shares? You have to, at some point, decide that you believe in logic or you believe in fairy tales. And if you believe in 10 trillion and the ability to create infinite shares, then I would ask you to explain how cost to borrow goes to 1,000%. Why GameStop had 100% short interest and ran to $400. I think numbers corroborate very well with evidence and things that we've seen related to price action. When I look at if there's 10 trillion fake shares that we're all holding, how come we can't get 200 million votes when we vote? How come these guys, these emotional people, won't explain that to you? We're all holding 10 trillion shares, but only 200 million show up to vote. Okay. Anyways, that's just me. It doesn't matter what I think, but I will report the numbers. I can show you evidence-based. It's been that way 2 years. That will never change. Makes a lot of people mad. I get it. But if you like hearing numbers that can never be backed up with evidence, there's 40 other channels besides me that have not been right about anything for 2 years. Casey says if they say there's 1,000% cost to borrow, it makes retail think that they have an edge. I agree. That could be part of the psychology, right? One thing that makes me really mad about Ortex, and I was bitching to them about Mullen. Mullen increased their outstanding shares, and it took Ortex a week to update. And meanwhile, the Mullen YouTubers are reporting 200 million outstanding shares, and the short interest is 50%. I'm like, no, it's not. They just tripled the float. You saw the filing. You know that is not the short interest. Ortex is not correct, but sometimes I think Ortex could be complicit in not updating data quick enough. They should be, if sites like Dilution Tracker can have the right data posted the next day, there's no reason that Ortex can't. So yes, it could be part of the trick. Same with the cost to borrow. I saw today on AMC, cost to borrow average 300%, cost to borrow minimum 5%. How many people are telling you that at least one lender is loaning shares for 5%? Did you guys hear that number one time this week? That's what I saw. Do you think that everybody's paying 300%? Or if you were wanting to go borrow shares, would you seek out the institution that was offering for 5%? And this is part of the clickbait problem. Like, people don't report the minimum cost to borrow, but it's there. It's there. Someone's lending them for 5%. And you willingly want to believe that everyone's paying 300 or 1,000, and I'm seeing 5% as the minimum. I know where I'd be going. When I buy a house, I shop for the lowest rate. You don't think that someone wanting to short is going to shop for the lowest rate too? Come on. Just be emotionally intelligent. Use your brains. The postcards were never supposed to be a share count, Casey. That was a narrative put out by clickbaiters, and they still are harping on it. I completely disagree. The postcards were not a share count. Get this through your head. Postcards were a notification to shareholders of record that a settlement had been reached. Who is the shareholders of record? Everybody registered with ComputerShare. That is not most of you. Most of you are not shareholders of record. So within a week, all of these shareholders of record got their postcards. If you were DRS or you were a broker, within a week, you had your postcard. That satisfied the court. Hard stop, end of story. Any other narrative you're hearing from these fucking crybabies is completely false and a misconstruction of understanding of what the court is looking for, because that is what those people wanted. That's not what the court wanted. Now, the court did provide some secondary instructions to these shareholders of record, which is the brokers, if you had beneficial holders underneath you to send their names and addresses to Strategic Claims Services, who was hired by AMC, so that they could forward postcards on to the beneficial holders, but you all are not shareholders of record. So the court does not care that you got your postcard late. That's a hard pill for some people to hear, hard pill to swallow, but that is the facts. Everything else you're hearing is people that are telling you something that they wish was true that is not true in the court's eyes. And I get it, but that is not factual. David says, can you start a poll to find out how many of us got postcards? No, because I don't care. We're about to wrap up the case. I don't care about anything in the past. I don't care about postcards. I don't care that Adam Aaron sold on shares to Antara for 68 cents. I don't live in the past, guys. We're dealing with where we're at right now on what's about to happen to your fucking money and your fucking shares based on what the judge is about to decide. That is the only thing that matters at this point. Remember, every objection, every exception sent into the court was denied and dismissed. They don't fucking care because the people sending that stuff in had a misunderstanding of what the court cared about. Doesn't mean the court's corrupt. It means all of these YouTubers, all these people on Twitter do not fucking understand what they're talking about. And they got you all riled up. Because I agree with you. I agree with them. These are things that matter to us. Doesn't matter to the court. I still have my postcards around here somewhere. I don't know where they are. I got other postcards too. Not AMC. Anyways, they're somewhere here. Maybe in a drawer. I don't see them on my desk. Karen says, Terry drank more than Tony tonight. I'm only one beer in, Karen. Trying not to drink, Karen. Trying to lose weight. Brian says it speaks to his character by cooking the vote, selling stock. I mean, I understand why you might think that, Brian, but I'm going to say again what I've said many, many times. I don't disagree with you that companies, it's not character, companies are going to do what they need to do to ensure their survival. I completely disagree with anyone that says this company is attempting to bankrupt itself. Quite the opposite. I see a company doing anything necessary, including pissing off their shareholder base to survive and raise money. And you don't like that, I get that, but that is a risk you sign up for when you buy stock in a company which has negative earnings. If you don't like reverse splits, if you don't like equity raises, I urge you, going forward, only invest in companies which have profitable quarters. For the rest of you that want to continue gambling in squeeze plays, penny stocks, companies that aren't making a profit, if you hold them long enough, all of these companies will cross this bridge. It's either raise money, do a reverse split, or go bankrupt. That is a risk, and you made the choice to buy, you made the choice to hold, and if you hold long enough, every single one of these companies is going to come to that point. So put your big boy pants on, accept your participation in that, except that you made the choice to buy. You made the choice not to look at the financials. You made the choice to agree fundamentals don't matter. And you made the choice to hold it long enough to when they did matter. And now we're at that point. And you can complain about it all you want, but they fucking matter right now. And every company at some point, when they're losing money, gets to that point where they matter. And if you don't like that, don't buy these companies. Jordan says, this is literally the point of the stock market. I think a lot of people don't understand that, Jordan. The stock market, when a company does an IPO, is for what? From investors to load up their corporate coffers with cash so they can grow the company, invest in the company, build the company. And many of them go back to the secondary market later when they need more money, and they do a secondary offering, another offering. If they're successful, that just gets swallowed right up. If they're not successful, then it becomes very damaging to retail holders who are still holding on. So choose wisely. And look, I love a good gamble play, but we all have to start accepting our own personal responsibility in our choices and stop trying to blame other people. It's not Adam Aron's character. It's literally the fucking company trying not to go bankrupt. And if you don't like that, don't be in the play. And I'm not telling you to sell. I'm just telling you that is where we're at right now. The company is trying to survive. All right, people are saying the audio's freaking out, and I don't want to be here all night anyways. Hopefully that's enough opinion to give all the trolls plenty to talk about tomorrow. For those of you in the Discord, I will see you bright and early in the morning. And we will see if we get anything in after hours tomorrow. But keep your eyes open, be up early, set your alerts, have extended trading ready, and be ready for anything. As more news develops, I will post it on Twitter, community tab, Discord, and if appropriate on YouTube as well. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better stop.